Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're stepping onto a totally unique battlefield. We're talking about a place where brute strength, yeah, it means absolutely nothing. We are breaking down Rajvyuh, a strategic board game that completely strips away luck, leaving you with this pure, unforgiving clash of intellect. And the core philosophy here? Think, plan, conquer. It's incredibly simple, but man, is it deeply challenging. See, in Rajvyuh, the fundamental rules governing every single piece are completely equal, but your decisions, those are entirely on you. Your ability to strategize and just outwit your opponent is literally the only thing standing between you and total victory. Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to cover Welcome to the Battlefield, One Rule for All, Classic Mode Strategies, Warrior Mode Challenges, and finally, the Emperor Mode. Starting off with Section 1, Welcome to the Battlefield, Understanding the Setup. At its absolute heart, Rajvyuh is an intense strategic war fought strictly between two players. It's really a blank canvas for your tactical mind. Every player starts with exactly 16 pieces to command. This is your foundation right here. You get one king, one queen, 2 elephants, 2 camels, 2 horses, and 8 pawns. It's a pretty fascinating lineup, honestly, swapping out your typical Western bishops and rooks for war elephants and camels, and they're all just waiting for your command. Moving on to Section 2, One Rule for All, the movement system. Now, looking at those pieces, you might be thinking, okay, sounds a bit like traditional chess, right? But here is the biggest difference, and frankly, I think it's the most brilliant feature of Rajvyuh. In classic chess, you have to memorize all these complex, multiple rules for how different pieces move. But in Rajvyuh, there's just one simple, uniform movement rule for every single piece. The playing field is completely mechanically leveled. This brilliant twist lets you focus 100% of your mental energy on actually outwitting your opponent rather than, trying to remember if your horse can jump a certain way. All right, Section 3, Classic Mode Strategies, the Foundation. If you're new to the game, you're definitely going to want to start in Classic Mode. Think of this as your pure, distraction-free starting point. It's unadulterated strategy. In Classic Mode, you've got 2 distinct paths to victory. First up is the targeted strike. Basically, kill the opposing king and the game ends instantly. Boom. The second path is total domination, where you completely eliminate every single one of your opponent's pieces, so not a single soldier remains. So it really boils down to ultimate survival or total elimination. But Rajvyuh doesn't just leave you hanging, it gives you some incredible special powers to pull this off. First up is teleport. Once per match, you can execute a strategic swap between any 2 of your living pieces in an instant. However, because it eats up 1 full turn, you really can't just use it on a whim. It has to be your carefully timed secret weapon, maybe to trap an opponent or save a vital piece right at the last second. Then we have King Rage Mode. If your queen is killed by the enemy, the king literally awakens into this revenge-fueled state. He gains a one-time cross-kill power. I mean, talk about dramatic flair. This completely transforms the king from a piece you're just desperately trying to protect into a highly dangerous, totally unpredictable threat on the board. And hey, never ever underestimate the little guys. With Pawn Promotion Plus, if your pawn actually manages to reach the opponent's starting line, it transforms. You can upgrade that tiny pawn to a queen, an elephant, a camel, or a horse. A piece that started as basic infantry can suddenly, out of nowhere, become your most powerful asset on the board. Now, what's really interesting here is the concept of royal fury. If you manage to assassinate your opponent's queen, you don't just remove a powerful piece, you're actually rewarded with an immediate extra turn. That is a devastating advantage. We're talking double the moves, double the pressure, and double the danger for your opponent in a single, brutal sequence. But of course, a good offense needs a solid defense, right? If you manage to kill 7 enemy pawns, you earn a shield token. You can equip this protective armor to an elephant, a camel, or a horse, and it'll absorb exactly 1 incoming attack. The shield shatters, sure, but your piece survives to fight another day. A well-timed shield can completely change the tide of the match, stopping what would have been a lethal strike dead in its tracks. Let's move to Section 4, Warrior Mode Challenges, Escalating the War. Okay, so once you've mastered those basics, Warrior Mode adds this entirely new, wildly fun psychological layer. This is really meant for those craving a bit more thrill. The biggest change here is that players receive secret missions. This could be a hidden objective like save the queen or kill 3 pawns. And if you pull it off, you earn a warrior badge.
This creates a fascinating hidden dynamic. You've got these dual objectives. You're fighting your opponent right out in the open while secretly maneuvering to complete your hidden mission without them having any clue what you're up to.
You also get access to the assassin pawn. Basically, you designate one of your pawns as a one-time killer. It can pull off a special attack on any piece on the board, well, except the king. But the devastating catch here is that it sacrifices itself in the process. It's a highly lethal but ultimately suicidal maneuver. One killer, one job. You absolutely have to deploy it perfectly. Information and momentum are absolutely everything in this mode. During the scout phase, which happens in the first 3 moves of the game, you can force the opponent to reveal the exact identity of one piece. Early intelligence gathering like that is huge. Then, mid-game, if you hit a kill streak of 5 pieces, you unlock a battle reward. You get to choose between an extra move or an extra shield token. These early and mid-game boosts provide massive strategic advantages, but only if you time them just right.
And that brings us to Section 5, the Emperor Mode, the ultimate test.
This is the hardest difficulty, designed to push your strategic limits to the absolute edge. So the crucial point here is that Emperor Mode isn't just about killing pieces anymore, it's about total, undeniable map control. To snag a strategic domination victory, you have to do 2 very specific things. First, kill 12 specific enemy pieces, and that has to include both of their horses and at least 1 elephant and 1 camel. Second, you must capture and hold 5 center map nodes for 3 full control rounds. It requires just an unbelievable amount of multitasking.
And just when you thought it was tough enough, the game fights back. Emperor Mode introduces the fog of war. During your first 5 moves, the exact identities of some enemy pieces remain completely hidden. So you're facing this intense mental pressure of knowing an enemy is sitting right there on a square, but you don't know what that enemy is until it's potentially way too late. To make matters even worse, the board itself becomes your enemy. Emperor Mode features trap nodes. These are specific spots on the board where, if your piece lands on them, it is completely stripped of its special powers. You are basically forced to think 2, 3, maybe even 4 steps ahead before moving to certain squares. You're navigating a literal minefield of disadvantage.
So what does this all mean? We've covered the elegant simplicity and pure strategy of classic mode, the hidden psychological warfare of warrior mode, and that brutal complex map control required for emperor mode. This game is a true test of leadership and foresight. The only question left is, classic, warrior, or emperor? Which mode are you ready to conquer? Set up your board, gather your wits, and make your move.